CDR, 2020 budget review. The right one?
Yes.
You have the floor.
Sorry, do I? It's my first one, so I don't know if I like this.
Put your mic where we can hear you.
Can you speak louder, please? I need to hear.
Can we dismiss
Can we throw
Gregoria?
somebody out?
Hey, where's security? Security. This is for you.
Those are 2 more of my minutes. I only use 3 of them.
That's it right there, you're right. You don't give nothing up.
You got the budget before you start.
Okay, you
Never
can,
give me in.
This budget, is this an adjusted budget?
we can adjust it. It's not,
No, is it adjusted with all the damage?
We're ready to make it.
Or is the original budget put together before all this?
what's your question?
On this budget, is this taking into consideration all the damages and damaged equipment and stuff? Or does it not have any of that in there?
Yes, it's all captioned. If you look under the details, like there's Fund 81, 081, yes. Page number. You just. Mhm. It's on the.
It's all the way at the end. Last page.
Anyway, I guess what I was
Yes.
asking is that we haven't really adjusted this thing because of the storm.
We're not gonna do it this meeting, we'll do it in December.
So it hadn't been, this is pre-storm.
Yes. And anything that was related to disaster recovery is on your second to last page. We're gonna capture everything in there. And we'll keep it separate from now on. We'll not go through any of the general fund or any of those regular department funds. Everything's gonna go through a disaster fund, and then we'll give you a separate report on each individual entity and where they are. That's something that HDA is gonna help us do.
And the reason I asked that is, so we had a building fund, and we there, so we had a amount of money in there, now the building's gone. That has to be adjusted, and taken into effect, so kind of throw things way off. I guess what I'm really saying is that this is really the place to start, but it's not a whole lot good for nothing, what I'm saying.
No, this is good. No, this definitely is, where we are. We don't look at it just for in each individual fund, we look at it as an entire budget. So it's represented in here, it's just not gonna be represented in the place that you're used to looking for it at. It's gonna be in its own separate item. But this does capture everything to date, what we projected that we're gonna spend through the end of the year, and then preliminary projections for next year. But it will be adjusted accordingly throughout 2021. What you start with in January never matches what you close the year with December anyways, and this year's no exception. It'll just probably be on a larger scale, the adjustments that we're gonna be asking for. Okay, so I'll go through it. Like I said, this is something that, we haven't really been through before with the hurricane. We did our best to get the budget together as quickly as possible. But for the most part, the most important page is the first page. The rest is all just detail. If you wanna really drill down in and see what each department's spending on copy paper, you can certainly find that in this budget. But just for today, we'll focus on the first page. And then if you have any follow-up questions, we'll drill down into it today, or you can wait and we'll have an additional budget meeting before the December if you feel like it's warranted. So, general fund, the very first line, general fund totals, that first column, 2020 budgeted revenue. We adopted the budget at the beginning of the year with $4.7 million worth of revenue. Budget expenditures was $3.8 million. The projected fund balance starting in 2021. So if we look at what our budgeted revenue, our budget expenditures are, and you take that out of what our cash fund balance is, it looks like we'll start 2021 with $11.9 million. So we're asking you to look and adopt a 2021 budget of $5 million worth of revenue and $4.4 million worth of expenditures. Other funding sources, that negative $596,000, that is what we lend to criminal court and to Road and Bridge to close their gaps. They have unsupported fund balances that we have to supplement every year. So at the end of the year, if we spend everything that we're budgeting and we accrue all of the revenues that we're projecting, we'll adopt a budget with a $10,000 surplus, which is good. You don't want to be in the negative, you want to be in the positive. So that means at the end of December 2021, it'll be $11.9 million of our unreserved fund balance. And that's our general fund, which pays for everything except for your fire districts. Your road and bridge is not in this capture, or not in your health unit, and not your garbage. This is just like your permitting department, your OEP, most of your normal parish operating departments.
So that means, back in the day, we used to have like $2 million going out of that other funding source.
Mm-hmm.
And now they done cut it back to almost 600,000.
Yes, a lot of that has to do with road and bridge. We cut a lot of costs in road and bridge over the years, and with the new tax roll that was just adopted, with Cameron LNG coming online and Chenier, their phase 2, we have a lot of newly identified revenue sources.
Yeah, and also too, I think it was a big deal back in the day. But all I'm saying is, it looks like Emily's running a tighter ship than he was.
Probably is.
Yeah, but I haven't asked you for nothing.
Oh, we ain't got that for you.
So, speaking of Emily, we'll go down to road and bridge. So as of right now, she's looking at needing the general fund to lend her the $123,000 to have a balanced budget. That's what's projected in this budget right now. I think she has a few items that she wants to go over with you guys. A few capital asset purchases that she's gonna request. So I'll go ahead, Em, if you wanna request it.
We need to replace 2 of the excavators, one in the Gratiot area, one in Johnson Bayou. Asking for 2 skid steers, one for the Hackberry area, one for Grand Lake. Not necessarily that they stay there. We've learned through past history and all these storms that we really need a skid steer and you can't find one to rent. That way we have them.
What are you saying? Skid?
Skid steer.
Oh, a skid steer.
What, you thought, a kid steer?
Yeah, after Hurricane Laura,
Okay, I understand. I was just confused with the word.
A gooseneck trailer and a cargo trailer. The cargo trailer would be that's gonna be a replacement item, and should have a PW written on it. I stuck it on here. It's kind of hard to know what's gonna be a PW item and what won't be, just yet. So there is a couple pieces that we are going to need to replace later, but it's kind of hard to say. I don't have a figure for the amount yet. Like the big tack tank that we use for the pothole patcher, we had just filled it up about 3 weeks before. It is solid. You cannot heat that up. That whole tank's gonna have to be replaced. So we're hoping to be able to do a PW on it, project worksheet. So that figure's not on here because at this time.
Thought we was at one point, on the pothole patcher, thought we was, wanting to one day upgrade that machine to a truck mounted.
We did, but I'm talking about the tank that's in the backyard.
Oh,
The tank that holds,
Tank.
yeah, the tank that holds everything, yes, sir. And the trailer is gonna be solid. There's gonna be a few things that's gonna come. We're gonna probably have to end up just getting some cold mix and stuff to make some of the repairs until we can, because we're gonna have to bid them out. Even if you do a project worksheet, it's gonna have to be bid out for the tank.
And then the equipment you're talking about, is this, none of this was in the barn, none of it was damaged by snow?
Well, that's kind of what that is, like the cargo trailer, what I'm talking about, the tank stuff like that. I didn't put on here yet because I don't have any quotes or nothing for them, so that's gonna be something that's gonna come up later.
What about equipment that we asked to come in, right after the storm, go through salt water, and it's damaged, could that
I'm not real sure if it can be replaced with a PW, but I did put 3 dump trucks on here. At one point, I had 4 that was broke at the same time.
Well, I know that the camera group has to come through this road. So-
Yeah, it was broke down for the last police jury meeting, I about panicked because I forgot it was right here to get it towed. We had to tow it into Lake Charles, and it's still not fixed.
Try to write PW on some of that.
You can only replace items that were damaged and by Hurricane Laura. It can't be anything that was just poorly maintained or just past its use. But we can use content insurance funds to maybe not replace some equipment or not fix equipment and purchase new equipment. And those 2 skid steers that she's talking about, it became apparent that our equipment inventory was lacking. Once Laura hit, we realized that we really could have a lot of use for skid steers. We probably could have used our road crew to push the roads clean and not be so dependent on a third party and series. So that's something that we learned from Laura and that we're trying to correct for future storms. We want to have that equipment on site and have employees dedicated to run that for the next storm so we can get in and clean the roads quickly, and it's probably a little bit more cost efficient than hiring an outside party. So that's why she's requesting the skid steers, and actually we have an LGAP grant that's gonna be, that was appropriated by the legislator the last session. It's about $100,000. And so that's one of your voting items on the agenda, is to allow us to apply for that LGAP grant, and we want to use those funds to help purchase those 2 items. But everything that she requested is already reflected in the budget. If you choose to deny her request, we can certainly take it out, but we wanted to present you a budget that had it already in there, so when you were looking at it, you could see it really doesn't offset and make her department go into the deficit, except for, what is it, $123,000?
That's in that 4 million.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the total on the equipment list?
With the 3 dump trucks, you're looking at $884.
What's the total, what's your total cost that you're asking us for money for replacing equipment?
$884,000.
884,000.
2 skid steers and 4 dump trucks.
Why you not, so that's the skid
3.
steers and the dump trucks?
That, 2 excavators, a gooseneck trailer, and a cargo trailer. Oh, 4 packers for the dump. That's gonna be a PW. The cargo should be a PW. That was damaged in the storm, it's got a hole in the roof. Some of this, we might be able to get money back from.
Yeah, but that's,
I put 3 dump trucks in the
that
garbage.
comes out of a different pot of money as well.
Three dump trucks in the garbage because we haul the tires, okay? We always haul them tires. And the 4 packer boxes, you're looking at 510. 3 dump trucks, 4 packer boxes. The excavators, the skid steer, and the gooseneck trailer cargo is $374. But she's gonna get me $100,000 back, so that's gonna be $274. Yeah, this is the first time I've ever asked for anything this big. Well, I just,
I'm gonna step out here and say this. Those excavators and those skid steers are gonna be used severely this year,
oh yeah,
just to clean up the messes that we got after these people are gone.
I had to rent one.
They're needed.
We had to rent an excavator and we never found one. It took me 2 weeks to even find people to give us a quote on one to rent.
And a sweeper.
And the sweeper took forever. I mean,
What size excavators you buying?
this is not necessarily the ones we're buying. I pulled this one, it's kind of high for the, to make sure I had a good bid amount. This one was a Cat 308 and it's like 102. But there is a Bobcat that, what I tried to do is get exactly what we had in Johnson Bayou and kind of what we have in Gresham. They're bigger than the 2 that's in Hackberry and Grand Lake. And it was like 102 with the state contract, but it may not necessarily be this one. I have to have that amount for our budget. Come January, it might be you know what I'm saying? I still need something equivalent to that size, but it could be a better machine. It's very hard getting, prices and stuff. Nobody wants to.
What's the weight on that machine?
6 ton machine?
Sorry?
What's the weight on that machine?
This one we can haul it, I don't remember the weight.
6 ton, 8 ton?
It's probably a
I
6
don't
ton.
remember. I know it's exact, whatever size, do you remember what size ours is out there?
306.
I know we haul that one around now.
Only thing I say is, make sure you buy this equipment that's not too small to do the job you want.
Well, that's what I made sure on this one here. I reached out for help to make sure I wasn't doing something wrong. So that size right there is the exact same size as in Johnson Bayou, and that is our Komatsu. And that size machine,
I seen them, that equipment being used by other operators in my yard.
yeah, that 308 is the same size as the PC 78 US. I don't know,
78.
it's the same size as a PC 78, the 30, the 308.
What they got in Johnson Body?
Is that what they had, 78?
Yeah, I'll pull that from there.
That's an old-time machine.
Yeah. And that's the one in Hackberry and Great Lake, they're a smaller machine, they're Bobcat, they're a lot smaller than this right here.
Now, the 78 came much bigger than the Bobcats. Look at your weights, look at your.
The reach is, but I got a quote that came in late yesterday afternoon, but this was already made up.
Right.
On a Bobcat, I actually have it, I think, on my desk.
Same size.
I have
Under 80.
a E85, E series Bobcat,
About 90 for that one.
89. That would come in late yesterday afternoon. I've been trying to get quotes. A lot of people don't even want to give you the quote because they can't tell you, even though it's on state contract, they can't tell you the turnaround time, how long it's gonna take.
That built a good machine.
That's a 19,000 pound machine too, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
So you gotta watch the weight on the trailer.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a big thing to look at is a reach, because if you get a machine that's got a sharp reach.
Sherry's not gonna be able to use it. We'll have to rent her something in her area. Yeah, and Klondike, that was the problem we had when we went clean Talons.
Yeah, can't reach.
Good. We ever figured out what the Bourne situation was in Maryland?
Thank God you say.
I mean, you mean ownership, like, we did have insurance on it.
We did have insurance on it?
We have yeah. You sure on it? Where's one?
That's that one. There's no content.
There's no No, there is content.
The con- Oh, we don't own the building.
We
We
didn't own
do
it.
not own that building.
We didn't own the building in Grand Lake.
FEMA and the Corps gave us that building. Me and Lee moved in there in May, or me and Ellis moved in there in May of 2006. We did all the dedication, they did the big thing, and no one ever turned it over to the parish.
Tell people they need to fix their building.
I agree with you. I will agree with you.
And they need to pay
They
for
ain't
it.
right, they ain't right themselves to PW.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have content.
yeah, I have $40,000 worth of content
So
in the
what
building.
did the FEMA guy say about it? Is that the same guy or is that?
No, somebody different.
Yeah, he's,
I have a question about the thing, why didn't you tell people back there?
Y'all didn't say nothing bad.
yeah, no,
I know, I've said more.
I didn't notice until halfway through the meeting, but, he's really just the regional coordinator. He's not the one that's actually on the ground talking to these people for direct housing, and so, but Joe brought it up, so he did his best to answer your questions.
Well, we need to get, something figured out on that, with FEMA, some kind of answer.
Well, and it is in FEMA's hands, like, they're working one-on-one with the homeowner. And, they have those DRC sites all over the parish, and the homeowners, they want direct assistance. They have to work directly through FEMA, it's not really anything we can do. Are you talking about the barn or FEMA? We're talking about FEMA! Okay, I'll just one.
The barn. Let's get working on the barn, make sure that FEMA's not dropping the ball on the barn. Two, also, let's put it in the
Gotcha.
list of to-do things.
Gotcha. Okay.
How's that have anything to do with the budget?
No. Sorry. We were having a sidebar conversation, I guess.
It wouldn't happen today, or it's a fall.
Our barn.
Yeah, a barn.
Tornado did it.
Tornado.
Oh, God.
It's created in the middle, I just started in the middle of the aisle.
Smashed a bunch of stuff, my dump truck, the plastic
More
truck,
than
and
$40,000.
spray truck, and,
More than $40,000.
oh, heaven.
Okay, Eddie,
So anyways, for the most part, I know we spent a lot of time on the general fund. We kind of talked about road and bridge. If you guys feel that, it sounds like you're all in agreement for us to go ahead and include that in the budget. As for everything else, Everything looks good. The main column you should probably pay attention to is the second to last column, which is that projected surplus deficit for year ending 31/20/21. And if you see a negative, then that's bad. If you see a positive, then it's good. When you see those negative numbers, you just look directly to the right at your projected fund balance. And if there's enough money there to cover that negative, then you're just adopting a budget with a deficit and you're funding that deficit with your unreserved fund balance. And that's how we adopt the budget. When you run out of that unreserved fund balance and you still adopt a budget with a deficit, then we have an issue, and that's when we bring the issue to you guys. I think the last time we had that situation was Cameron Fire, when they ran out of surplus funds and we had
How
to.
much did that change, that fund balance change from last year?
So overall fund balance, at the very bottom of the page, well, second to about 5 total special fund, revenue
Oh,
funds.
yeah.
That's for all the funds, but if you want to look for the total budget, all funds combined, general, special, and capital, at the top, there's like a double line, bold line. It says total budget, all funds combined, and that 37 million is how we're projecting to close the year, and we started the year with 23 million.
23 to 37?
And now, this is inclusive of capital project funds. Like, we're gonna be getting some restore money in that's figured in there. So that's not actual new revenue. It's just gonna be some of the grant revenue that's gonna be coming in that we identified, that we don't haven't actually identified expenditures for yet. So it's a little misleading to look at that total fund one, but if you really look at the general fund one and the special revenue fund one, that's where you can really see what your change in fund balance
List
is.
of projects that you're talking about funding, right, you said you hadn't funded, you hadn't identified projects for those funds.
Right.
Right up there at the top of that list,
Mhm.
needs to be a new rec center for Grand Lake.
Okay. We did apply for funds with the state capital outlay funds. I don't know, where's one? So they'll have a chance to look at that when they gets back to session. We also will be receiving, hopefully, some appropriation of disaster CDBG funds too, where we'll be able to identify projects.
Unfortunately, in Grand Lake, we don't have an LAG plant.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hey, the LG plant did not pay for no, rec center.
No, but they paid for everything else.
No, it didn't either. We had everything we got now before they showed up.
On another note, that barn was built at an 8 foot, the requirement now will be 10.
So you gotta go to 2 foot.
So they didn't,
It don't look like
we didn't
it's-
hammer?
Hmm?
Why you didn't hammer?
No, they changed.
No, they changed it. We'll have to
Where
follow
that
the
permit
new
go?
rule.
Why you didn't hammer?
It changed 2 foot because they didn't raise the intercoastal and they raised the water.
The maps was changed in 2012. When we built it, it was in an 8 foot.
Anything
We don't know what the elevation is right now. Somebody's got to get a shot on the slab and see what the elevation
No,
was.
I mean, we look like everything right now seems to be in order. It looks like we're in good shape to handle this recovery. We're gonna have to fund a lot of it on the front end and wait for FEMA reimbursement, and we're in good financial
So how much
state to
cash
do
we
that.
have on hand?
How much cash?
Yeah. our cash balance.
I don't know. Do you have a report for the cash balance? Your projected fund balance though is, yeah, because, yeah, cash or accruals. This is on, I just put you the bank statement, how much you have general fund. last time.
We'll just make it bigger.
Right, yeah, you have a question on the
It's all in the back.
We'll have the cash balance.
I have a motion.
This is accrual.
Second.
Wait, we have some other action items, guys.
This is not the executive budget, it's all going back to the
Yeah.
This is just the review.
This is just a review, if there's any,
December, next month.
yeah, we won't adopt it till December, and you'll do a budget amendment in December for the current year. And in December, you'll have your cash report, where you are at the cash versus where you are with your budgeted. It's two different things, so sometimes that fund balance, that cash balance gets a little confusing because it's accrual versus just the currency. So, we'll have all that presented in the packets for December. If you guys feel like we need to have another budget meeting or finance meeting, we can schedule it today. We will have a public hearing that's gonna be scheduled. It's gonna start advertising on Thursday, so we'll designate that public hearing. It's gonna be December 8th, I believe is what it's set for. So, that's where we allow the public to come in, look at the budget. If they have any complaints or any requests, they can come in at that time. So it's gonna be December 8th. That'll be in this building.
He's all over, he's done wrote it down.
Okay. Do you guys want to talk about any particular fund? Do you want us to see add anything into the budget? Do you want to look at any, if you'll notice, I didn't include any, capital improvement project money in this budget. Normally you put 2 million, we didn't put that in this year, this budget. Yep.
Why didn't?
It's just something that the jury elects to do. We can if you want us to. If you feel like we have a project for the 2 million, we can.
It's something we just normally do, but we didn't do.
We didn't adopt a budget last year with the 2 million in there
But we had to.
from the year before, unused. Yes.
Do we still have
They're
that?
gonna be so far in debt when we start having to pay this 10 or 25%. I don't know where we're gonna get that.
600,000 yards, how much we gotta pay, 25% of $9?
No, that's $9 to dispose of, it ain't the
How
whole.
about the whole thing?
Yeah, the debris averages between $15 and $20,
And then FEMA's on.
Cubic yard.
How much?
25%. But what falls outside of that 30-day?
How much is that?
They can't, 10 until you.
That's a million two, and 10%, 10%, that's gonna be.
Credit you to get a
Best
better
thing that we're.
Like five, what's that?
Yeah, you can.
Five.
It's 5, so it'll be 20.
Don't say that.
That's only.
Yeah.
We did something good, that's why we did it.
They see it as
That
one.
5% would save a lot of money by getting our contract.
That's true.
Right.
Hey, for the record, Danny wants us to make sure we're on the record, because we procured a pre-disaster firm, then went for debris removal monitoring, then when we submit everything, we'll automatically get a 5% increased cost share from the federal government. So if it's 25%, they're gonna pay for 5% of it, we'll only be responsible for 20%.
Yeah, but that's the pay for the guy that you hired.
That's 3.75 million.
But at least if we're going the right direction.
It's
That's
true.
just on the debris removal as of today. And we still gotta go.
They are considering the cost share though still, I mean, it's not, it is 75-25 right now. Now debris, the debris for that 30-day period is gonna be 100%, whenever we figure out those 30 days, so, but it's something that we're working with GoStep on and FEMA, and we have a really good FEMA coordinator, Ed, that was here, as you can tell, he really does care about the community, and he's doing everything he can to get us as much of that cost share increased as possible, so.
We'll need to know,
Yes.
as soon as it looks like that number is gonna play out in a range, the jury needs to know that. I mean,
I would
I mean, I know
suspect we'll have a
you can't be
decision in a
exact.
few weeks. They're gonna have to make a final decision within a few weeks, because once everyone starts having their recovery scoping meetings, which ours is next week, they should have an answer for us by then, is how it's supposed to work. Now, it's,
We have to take a long one to give you for. Very good. I know you can go right now.
it's something you're gonna have to prepare for.
yes. So, but once we know that that's something that we need to budget for, I mean, we put in some numbers now, what we projected could be in the beginning, at least to get us through the first quarter, and as soon as we know what those numbers are, we're gonna amend the budget and put it in there, that way we're always looking at it, and every time we have a finance meeting, we know exactly where we stand, and that's why we have HGA on board. They're gonna present some very detailed reports to the jury every month on every PW, how much insurance money we received, how much FEMA's gonna pay, the status of the construction, and the process that it's in FEMA. If GoStep's approved it, if FEMA's approved it, they're gonna tell us all that every month at our police jury meeting, once we get to that point. We're just not to that point yet.
Are they oversee construction phase?
Not actually like an inspector would. They're just going to look at the invoices and make sure that the invoices are lining up to what's eligible for
Their
payment.
engineer's not gonna be involved in any way?
Not inspection.
Not right now, no.
Take
Just,
care of that on every job that we have to do, that much job.
Oh, we're gonna have to have this.
we have Monty, we have James, we hired another guy, and then we have our inspectors that are gonna make sure they're meeting their milestones and they're building everything to code. But if we identify a need for that, we'll certainly hire someone to do that.
Is there projects you go to hire engineers to design? You talking about, or repairs? What do you
But
do?
both. We are procuring an architect to do new designs and to develop scope of work for repairs. But if it's minor repairs, like cosmetic type stuff, then Monty and James and, the new guy's gonna handle that. And actually, Monty's been working on all the boat launches already. He's got 4 out of 5 repaired already. So he did that on his own. That will get reimbursed directly from FEMA for the boat launches.
Any other questions on the budget?
I think you have, executive sessions, you get to, yep.
All right?
I put something, the evaluations and stuff in the conference room on the table. So I don't know if you want to go in there first and kind of go through it, and then you can call us in one at a time after you have the chance to fill it out. Or if you want to just talk to us while you're evaluating us and go through the questions, it's up to you guys. Okay.
That's what
It's up to y'all. I'm supposed to go in executive session.
Motion to go into executive session?
I'll second.
Second. All in favor, roll call?
Yes.
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 But it's up to y'all if y'all.
You have to make a motion, when you read the motion and go into executive session, you have to say what you're going into executive session for. You have to read the whole motion.
You have to say,
we're gonna ask them.
The OEP director?
Ask them to come in.
You didn't read the findings?
Didn't read it now, sir.
I'm reading
Just
it.
read it out.
Executive session for evaluations, the administrator and OEP director.
Motion from Kirk, second from Mr. Butch.
Yep.
Roll call is all yes.
Yep.
Okay, your packets are on the table, and the questions. It's the same evaluations that we use to evaluate the staff.
Vote.
And motion to come out of executive session, second. Thomas, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
yes.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Back in session.
No action taken.
Taken.
Motion to adjourn.
Now, we got, motion to adjourn this meeting. Second. Mr. Trahan, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting's over. Let's start the next meeting. With that, I'm going to ask Mr. Booth to lead us in a pledge. Mr. Lead us in a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
A second, get the right paper here. All right, I need to, approval of minutes. Public comment, I don't have it. Approval of minutes,
Move.
no motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, approval of add-ons. Read that.
Yeah, read it out.
Yes.
Item 17, appointments, Grand Lake Rec Board Number 5, accept the resignation from Mary Carroll and appoint Jacob Babcock to the remainder of
Move.
Motion, Mr. Kirk, second, Mr. Lee, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, number 6, other permits. Myers Trucking, LLC, Venture Global, LNG, URM Grand Engineer, All Value, Luhan Dirt Services, LLC, Sweet Lake, Cameron Parish, Gravity Branch, District Number 4, Creo, Brent and Jamil Menard, Grand Engineer, Robertson Energy, LLC, Hackberry, White Oak Operating Company, LLC, Cameron, Robertson Energy, LLC, Hackberry, and Centerpoint Energy Incorporated, Oak Grove.
Move to accept.
Have a motion to accept permits?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
I abstain from Venture Global.
You got that noted, Mary? Okay. Motion carried. All right, number 7, approve Rigid Construction LLC, change order number 1. Increased cost $696,700 for geotextile composite bedding, layer, and armor stone, aggregate, settlement place, lighted beacons, surveying bond, aerial photography, and increased contract time to 60 additional days.
No question. That's all CDBG money, right?
For
Move to accept.
Have a motion by Mr. Kirk,
Second.
second by Mr. Curtis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 8, approve Rigid Constructors LLC change order number 1, Gomez Shoreline Stabilization Project, Long Beach, increased contract time 43 days, no additional cost.
Move.
Have a motion? Second. Second by Mr. Trahan, all in favor?